Welcome to Nepal's Top 7 Debaters 2012, produced by Today's Youth Asia. We've come to the final round of the bachelor's level category. Prizma Ghimire from St. Xavier's College and Manita Pokharel from Nawa International College have been the finalists. Today, one of the two will be declared as the winner of Nepal's Top 7 Debaters 2012 for the bachelor's category.
I would like to introduce you to our panel of judges. Our first judge is Mr. Santosh Shah. He's the anchor and producer of the popular TV show Power Talks. He's also the world record holder as the youngest anchor of an English political talk show. Our second judge is Senior Superintendent of Police, Mr. Silwal. He currently serves as the Deputy Chief of Narcotics, Drug Control, Law Enforcement Unit of Nepal Police. He's also a writer, singer and a poet. Our third judge is Ms. Susmita Maskey. She is a mountain climber and an Everest summiter. She is an inspiration to many young aspiring women leaders.
The topic for the final competition round is Federalism will reduce corruption in Nepal.
Let us have Manita Pokharel and she'll be speaking for the motion.
Today, the entire Nepalese people living inside Nepal or outside Nepal are having a same question running throughout their mind. Will federalism reduce corruption in Nepal? And my answer to this question is yes. Federalism will reduce corruption in Nepal. I'm not predicting future, I'm assuring future. Haven't we seen the long history that a country with unitary government or without federalism hasn't been able to reduce corruption? Now, let's try. What is federalism? Federalism is the advocacy of federal theorems to divide powers between member units and common institutions. I know what my competitor will say, what my opponent will say is that federalism is going to increase corruption. Haven't we seen the long history, as I told before? Or the next thing is that, she may say that there will be many employees or we have to give employments to many people. But have we recognized that they will be supervised by one head office? Now, the person, the uneducated farmer living in Rolpa, would he be interested and come to Kathmandu to watch is corruption being increasing or decreasing? Would he come and come to check? No. So what we should do is, in Rolpa, if Rolpa falls on some state, then he would see what is happening in the state and he will be interested. And it increases competition within the states that I have to do. My state should progress a lot, or this state should develop a lot, or I should compete and I should give the best outstanding result. So for that, it creates competition. It reduces corruption within the states, or it creates inter-states problem also. It can be minimized. Once, the ambassador of Germany to Nepal has told that due to the legislative oversight or due to the lack of care from the government side, it has even the election committee or even the legislative power are going for corruption. They are increasing corruption. Then if a foreigner who comes to Nepal and lives for a certain period is analyzing that Nepal is having corruption, so it should move towards federalism to decrease corruption. Then we, Nepalese, what are we looking for? Let's move towards federalism, and so that we can decrease corruption rate. I'll give you the best example. If a doctor gives 500 ml bottle of medicine to a patient and patient goes to his house and drinks all at once, then what would happen? We certainly could imagine. So the same thing I'm trying to compare with the nation. If all the powers, if all the work is done by the same authority, then everyone would be they will be surprised, or they will be shocked, and they will be unable to perform their duties. So see, in same case, like patient also, he or she could not be do the same thing like as he could do while it is divided to state, or while they are working in state. It creates, now we are having monopoly. So if anybody sees that we should not move towards federalism, it will increase corruption, then it would be a simple joke. I just want to say that, and say that federalism will, of course, it is obviously going to decrease the corruption in Nepal. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call upon Prizma, who's going to speak against the motion.
A farmer thinking that it would be a wise idea to burn down his whole farm just to kill the termites is the same thing for us, the Nepalese, to believe that corruption will get reduced with the commencement of federalism. My opponent friend claimed that federalism will reduce corruption, but I have a question for her. If that's the case, when was the first time when federalism in India was introduced? 1950? And since then, it's holding the history of 62 years. But the history of 62 years, Indian federal government has not been able to prove against corruption. If that was the case, then there was no need of any Anna Hazare who stood there for anti-corruption campaign conducting hunger strikes. Interestingly, I also found out an Indian website, namely ipaidabbribe.com, whereby Indian people, they come over and they share their bribe stories. A survey done in the same website revealed that 62% of Indians, they have first-hand experience of paying bribes to the officials to get their jobs done. Similarly, in case of South Africa as well, there has been significant rise in corruption rate by 9.1% since the assessment was started from 2003. When all these world context already proves that federalism has not been able to contribute in order to reduce corruption, how, my friend, can you claim that Nepal will get rid of corruption only with the establishment of federalism? Answer is, we will not. Well, talking more about federalism, I wouldn't say it is bad governance system at all, because it's a simple political concept designed for proper governance. But my opponent friend, she only talked about what federalism is and how it functions, but she never mentioned what kind of federalism we are going through. Federalism also have various models, and the kind of model that Nepal is trying to implement is based on ethnic categorization. And this might be very fearful in long run in case of corruption, because it will not only increase corruption in terms of among ethnic groups, but also increases corruption of power as well. A model developed by Transparency International stated that Nepal lies at the point of 2.2 between the scale of 0 and 10, where 0 refers to the most corrupt nation and 10 refers to the clear or transparent economy that a country beholds. Here, when it was clarified that Nepal falls under the most corrupted nation, further studies were done. And studies revealed that most of its corruption occurs at the local level than compared to the central government. This might once again come out as a disadvantage for federalism, because the whole idea of federalism incorporates that a country should be divided into a central government and a local government. When there is already higher rate of corruption in local government, how, my friend, can you claim that there will be reduction in corruption? All in all, what I want to prove is political model is not an instrument to eradicate corruption. There will always be corruption if there is no other, if it is not severely charged as a crime, if until and unless there is change in attitude of people, it will always remain as a problem. But political model doesn't mean that corruption will be reduced. So here in this case also, federalism will not be able to reduce corruption. Thank you very much.
Let us hear what our judges have to say about your performance.
Manita and Prizma, congratulations for making it to the final. Manita, I would like to start with you. In the audition round, I had told you that you're Nepal's original voice. And sometimes in debate, that can go either way. Meaning that when we think in Nepali, and when we speak in English, the problem that happens is I understand and I'm convinced as what I'm saying, but somebody who's listening to it may not be able to understand it because they are hearing you in English. And I think that's what you struggled with today. There were a lot of contents inside you, which you had formulated, but while speaking it out, it didn't get exactly translated. Because when you think in one language and speak in another language, there is a phrase called lost in translation. A lot of things get lost or get misunderstood. And I was hoping you could have come up with what is federalism in Nepal's context. And the topic suggests that corruption exists. That's not what we're debating. So I would have been more impressed if you stressed on that and said that to what level of corruption exists and how federalism can counter that. And I hope in rebuttal round I get to see a bit of that. Because without that, this debate is incomplete, right? If that does not come from your side. Prizma, among all the debates you have done, today is the best. I'm very happy you have worked hard. You've taken the advice seriously. You used very good examples. You had a proper counter argument and good logic, good data, and good examples. Good luck.
Manita and Prizma both have done well. The beginning was very excellent, especially Manita, it done very well. And in the middle level, the issues that we were expecting were a little not to the level that we expected. Conclusion was fine. Both have done well actually. And Prizma, yeah, because you've cited data, examples, and especially the Indian experience was really excellent. Because we can always go to TV, watch TV, and read papers, and you know, we used to reading those kind of stuff about India. My observation here is like the statement itself says corruption exists, but it seems that both of you agree on this issue actually, that you both maintain that corruption does exist in Nepal. But I don't really think that corruption, well, there may be corruption in some areas. If Nepal was complete corrupt, then how would we run? Nepal is surviving as a nation. Obviously it is struggling, it's going through a hard phase in the history of, entire history of our nation. They're good civil servants, they're good national workers. They're not all corrupt. You could, especially Manita should have tossed upon it, because they are good people and they're making sure that the country is moving. Country is moving towards the right direction. Maybe it is moving on a very slow pace, not to the expectation of its people, but it's going on the right direction. So because there are people who are making sure that it goes in the right direction. Both have done well. I'd like to wish you best on the coming up rebuttal round.
Manita and Prizma, well done. Manita, you started well, defined the subject, but you could have like better examples support your statements. In the beginning, I love the way you began, and like there was some hope of better Nepal in your statement, but later it just couldn't get the sense of like getting better country like. So Prizma, your examples were really good, very well researched. It was global, and I love the fact that you actually mentioned corruption as crime. So or like it could be even illness. It could be called illness. So I'll just look forward to you both in coming up rounds. Thank you.
After such wonderful comments from the judges, let's see what the rebuttal round brings after a short break.
Today's Youth Asia opens school representative media training for students of grade 7, 8, 9 and 10.
Best utilization of holiday time during Saturdays. Selection process is not required. First come, first serve.
Whether you're a class topper or not, you can still become a winner in life if you join TYA trainings at an early age.
Learn to speak in public, learn to debate on stage, learn to write articles and television scripts, participate in English television programs, discuss on national and international issues.
Today's Youth Asia phone number 425-7250. Our email address is youthtya@gmail.com.
Parents' best gift to their child that will last a lifetime.
Welcome back. You're watching the final round of the Bachelor's category of Nepal's Top 7 Debaters 2012.
We now begin with the rebuttal round. I'd like to call on stage Manita Pokharel.
My dear opponent, the topic we are given is, will federalism reduce corruption in Nepal? We are talking about Nepal, and you compared Nepal with India. Nepal is in between India and China, but Nepal is developing country, and federalism is the best way and is the best system for the developing countries like Nepal, as Nepal is the second high corrupted country in South Asia. So we are youth, and we self are saying that federalism must not be applied, then it will be a very big mistake that we have done ever in our life. We are trying to make Nepal like Somalia. which is the highest corrupted country, or we want to make Nepal like the least corrupted countries like New Zealand and Denmark. It's upon us. So what will we choose? What is our wish? It is shown there. Nepal, if we would go for federalism, of course it's going to develop a lot, because who knows what happened in Bihar. I'm only talking about Bihar. There was first a certain minister who couldn't do well, but after, while next state minister was changed, he changed a lot to Bihar, that its economical growth rate is 13% right now. So who knows that Nepal can give birth to such energetic personality in future because of federalism. So I suggest you, my dear opponent, please be focused, not only today, be aimed for tomorrow, that what would be the situation of Nepal tomorrow if the youth like you will say that federalism must not be applied. Unitarian government should be applied. So it would be a great mistake, Donbass. Let's not only compare Nepal with big and developed countries. We are in developing stage, so be on that stage. Thank you.
Well, I think my opponent misunderstood me quite a bit. I did not talk about the context of Nepal because we have not yet entered to the federalism. We are just discussing about federalism. So the best thing for me to do was to take the global context, which I did. And secondary thing is, when she mentioned about Bihar, the minister she was trying to explain was about Lalu Prasad Yadav. And I would again highlight on the point that India has already enjoying the 62 years of federalism through all these years. And she made me more clear, she made me more easy to claim that federalism will not be able to contribute in order to reduce corruption in Nepal, which I was trying to explain all this while. Secondary thing is, there are other things that should be taken into priorities rather than federalism, because personally what I feel is political model does not political model is it's not an measuring factor for the corruption to occur in a country. Besides that, there are many factors such as education. We lack standard education. We have low economic development that we import a lot. And that's the main reason that corruption is occurring mostly in our country. Third is, there is no proper improvement in the justice system as well. A corrupt man is not punished worthily. Secondly, lastly, there is no proper justice system. If the system of Nepal, that is CIAA, would take upon the monitoring system, and if the investigations are done properly, decentralizing all its powers, we don't need federalism or any other isms to reduce corruption in Nepal. Thank you very much.
My dear opponent, I'd like to give you the best example I can. Suppose a principal of your college lives in a single room and tells to his staff that please go and teach my students, they will do well. How could it be possible? Don't he have to go and supervise what is happening in the class? If he would fold his hands and remain in his chair, would that be possible? Is that complete process to make students more qualitative? And next example I can give is, suppose father lives in Pokharel and son lives in Kathmandu for his higher studies. Father calls in his cell phone and asks him, what are you doing and how are you doing? Of course, son will say that I am doing good, I will try my best. But if if son has lived with his father together, of course there will be proper guidance. But isn't that is not being possible while father lives in Pokharel and son is in Kathmandu. So I'm trying to tell that in federalism, of course, there would be a person who can guide in every state, and there will be proper supervision. Thank you.
Let me clarify my opponent on the topic on which we are discussing about. Here, we are not discussing or arguing about federalism. Here, we are discussing that will federalism reduce corruption in Nepal or not? And my point, I firmly say that it won't reduce corruption in Nepal, because the monitoring power, it should be the first-hand governing system that should be strong in order to take control upon other bodies. If the central bodies itself is so loose and so reckless, neither you nor me can guarantee that federalism can reduce the corruption in Nepal. Secondly, mostly our topic is centralized on corruption itself, I'd like to say that since our local governments are most corrupt than the central authorities, federalism will indeed multiply the effect rather than controlling it. Thank you very much.
After the final rebuttal round, may I request our judges to please give the final remarks.
Manita and Prizma, the rebuttal round could have been much better. I had a higher expectation, which was only somewhat met today. This is the final round. You're in bachelor's level. The expectations naturally will be very high, and this is a debate that can carry on for a long time. Of course, something that was totally lacking in both your presentation was to mention the remoteness of the country. Although it looks like it's a small country, the geography is such that we are a very disconnected country, right? And that's where a unitary government or a federal government will bring some change if the country becomes federal. Now, how will that contribute to reducing corruption or even to the extent of increasing corruption is something to debate about, and that's the debate about today, right? So the main context was missing in both your content. When we discuss about corruption, rule of law has to come into action, which at some point you try to bring in by talking about the CIAA, but I hope you could have added more to that. Education among the people of our country is something that was also lacking in both of your content. We are a country where education was banned for 104 years by an autocratic regime. That's a great context to bring into. Maybe there's corruption in our country because people don't know their civil rights. They're not educated enough. This is also a country where a lot of public opinion is influenced by NGOs, who are influenced by INGOs, who are influenced by foreign donor agencies, right? This is your opportunity to bring that out. That, okay, if we go into federal structure, will that have a lesser impact on the people or will that have more impact on the people? Meaning, if they thought Nepal should stay corrupt or maybe Nepal should not stay corrupt, to what extent of influence will that have in Nepal's future? Because even if it goes into a federal structure, it's still Nepal. Let's not forget that. It's still one country, right? And we would be concerned for our fellow citizens in other federal state as much as we would be for the citizens in our own state. So these are a lot of contents that could come up in this discussion. The whole country is debating federalism right now. The whole country suffers from corruption. So this is something of concern for everybody. And you both did very well. I know you have worked hard. But these are some major components that was missing to discuss, and I hope that could have come about.
Manita and Prizma, you both have done well, pretty well, I would say. But I had a little more expectation from you both, because you had the capability, you had the ability to deliver, to put your argument in a manner that we could have been well convinced. When Prizma put forth the suicide to the examples of India. She gave statistics and all that. You could have come up to give your logic, to put your argument forth, because in a manner that we have not been to federalism yet, and life is about experiencing change, and the country's life is also about experimenting different systems, different changes, to find the best system that can cohort, that can actually work with the expectation of the country, of the people. You could have put forth your argument in a manner that federalism was probably the one and ultimate solution of the problem that we've been facing day in, day out. We've been facing over the years, decades, and even centuries. That I think you missed in that one. But other than that, conclusion was a little less impressive, I would say, because you are in a bachelor's category. Viewers probably would have more expectations from you. We judges had a lot of expectations. I'd like to congratulate you both and wish you all the best in future. Thank you.
Manita, I think I would suggest that you have to bring out like some strong examples, just not like made up examples, but like something which has like its fact with it, within it. And I like the part when Prizma actually used an example given by Manita in her own favor, So I like that fact, and I think like you should work harder on getting doing the researches and working on the contents. All in all, good luck to you both.
Thank you, judges. The judges are finalizing their marks, and we all are eagerly waiting for the announcement of the winner of this category.
You both have done very well throughout the series, and congratulations for making it to the final. We have to announce one winner today, and that still means the runner-up will have one more chance to go into the special mention category and see if you get selected. We would like to announce Prizma Ghimire as the winner for this category, Bachelor's Level English category. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Prizma. You've been declared as the winner of the Bachelor's Level category for Nepal's Top 7 Debaters 2012. May I request our judge, Mr. Santosh Shah, to hand over the certificate and the gift voucher for Leadership and Skill Development Program to our winner.
We still have the special mention round where the judges will be selecting one winner. Good luck for that. With this, we complete Nepal's Top 7 Debaters 2012 for Bachelor's Level English category. The application for Nepal's Top 7 Debaters 2013 is now open, and the auditions will take place in September 2012. If you are a student studying in between grade 7 and Bachelor's Level, you can apply for either English or Nepali category. For further details, you can visit facebook.com/top7debaters. Our email address is youthtya@gmail.com. Our phone number is 425-7250.
We'll be back with Nepal's Top 7 Debaters 2013. Till then, have a great year.